Oh, yeah, boys. What the fuck is up, everybody? How are we doing today? I'm coming to you guys live. Might as well, even though I did Rule 0 today, Dude Party, and now I'm going to rock and roll with this. Why the F not? I'm about to sneeze. Oh, my God. That was a fucking good one. Hell yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah. So, oh, boy. That was excellent. Absolutely stupendous. You guys are probably all red pill content red pill content out, but IDGAF, that's me. We got some people up in the chat. What is up, my dudes? Thank you very much. What is up, my dudes? Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Dang, we got a few more people than I thought would be up in here. Anyway, as always, hit that like button, gentlemen. I do appreciate that. After Rule 0 today, I decided, as I always do, to go right to the gym. Why not? What else is there to do? What the fuck else is there to do? There ain't shit else to do. You got to go get that lift in. I'm lifting every day right now. I don't give a shit. What do we got here? Edgar Cruz, how we doing, buddy? What's going on? Ajax, what's going on? I'm the 9. Philip Franklin. You guys are the real G's. Bouncing in a bit to try our secret frag sauce. I just wore it. I just wore it out on I had a quick little date. I was trying to convert within an hour. I was really putting my I was trying to really push my boundaries. Because she gave me an hour because she had some other errands to do, and this was a first time meetup. So I was trying to really, really push the envelope. I escalated within 5-10 minutes. Physical touch, already kissing the neck, already massaging the thigh and all that good stuff. Made her sit on my lap, all sorts of stuff. And then literally within probably 20 minutes, I was like already pushing to come back. Like, come on, let's go. Let's go back to my place. I mean, because she had literally let me. We were doing all sorts of stuff in public, which, you know how it is. So we did some touchy feelies, but ultimately, especially during the day, here's one. So we're going to talk about this here in a little bit as far as seduction is concerned, but there's some common things that I start to realize about women. And typically there are ways that you're able to push those boundaries and be successful, but man, during the daytime, it's usually quite difficult unless the girl is set with being promiscuous. Never lose fights. Handsome fighters never lose fights. What's his name, dude? Fuck, what's his name? Cody Garbrandt. He got his butt whooped. I'd say he's handsome. He's a good-looking guy, even though he's blue pill. 13 guys up in the chat. Let's make sure we're hitting that like button, everybody. Drop a comment in. This is my boy. What the fuck is up, dude? Dustin, just to let you know, I got a new book coming out. I don't know if you saw that on the Instagram, but if you want me to send a free chapter to you, let me put that link in the chat. And I should probably put it on fucking, what's it called, too? Hey. Click that link. Put your email in there, and I will send you an email with a free chapter of my newest book and keep you updated on when I put out my new one, when it's going to be on the market. We're looking at March 1st right now, everybody. March 1st is when we're looking for the book to be released, just to let you know. Oh, I'll get to that point. That's a really good question. And then I'll talk about that question too. That's really good too. Let me hit that Facebook real quick, though. I got to manage some of this shit. Good questions in the chat right now, though, gents. I just want to post this link up in the Facebook chat. Control V, even though it's in the fucking description for those lazy shits. Facebook sucks anyway. Facebook's retarded. Yeah, get that shit, Dustin. Also, shoot me a text or something, bro. And thank you very much. She says it's a sick podcast. I do agree. Who else concurs? One's in the chat if you think this is a sick podcast. Tomato. Fat people are an epidemic, that's for sure. Fat obesity is a better term. Yeah, boy. All right, let's talk about that question real quick. It's an overindulgence issue. It's an overindulgence issue as well as this. One thing that most people don't realize is that there is a thing called a fat genetic, right? So people aren't lying when they say, I was born this way kind of thing, because your parents can give that to you. And it mainly comes from the father too, to be honest with you. If your father is obese or overweight, he can actually change the genetic code, right? And it doesn't mean that you're always going to be obese, right? You can outwork obesity, right? But you start a child out with a poor metabolism is really what it comes down to. So there's that. There's a lot of shit in our foods. People don't understand macros, and it's just so easy to get your hands on so many carbohydrates. Now, the bad thing is this: we are such an intellectual society now as well that we actually need those carbohydrates because our brain uses glycogen first and foremost. It uses up sugars in order for it to operate. So there's a correlation. That's why when you see gamers, they're always eating and drinking stuff that is super high in quick carbohydrates. And that's actually why they're pretty good. They use that fuel in order for them to game, because it's like snap, 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 right? The synapses, it needs it. But most people are just over consuming calories. They're over consuming calories and they don't have enough expenditure of calories in versus calories out. It's just a simple basic equation, right? So that's why we're obese. And there's just a whole bunch of other stuff too. People just aren't healthy. We don't have a healthy culture. We are actually in the midst of a dying and decaying culture. It's another reason why I've written this book, right? Like, I go over all of this stuff in my book. And part 2 is really going to break down how we can cultivate a new society based off of all the lessons we've learned from the decay of this society. So that's really essentially what Patriarch's vision, purging feminism, is about. Let's get into that real quick before I answer Ajax's question. Is it Ajax? Yeah, no doubt on my response on fragrances. Love fragrances. You'll always get a response out of me when it comes to fragrances. Hey, cool, man. Yeah, we're going to get into it here in a little bit. Make sure you sub, dude. Plain and simple. I talk about this stuff all the time. You can push the boundaries with those shades. No. Where'd that Ajax? Corey, can you ever talk intellectual shit with women, or is that damn near pointless? I've had intellectual conversations with women. I have. But here's the deal, is if I'm on a date with a girl, I am not looking to have any intellectual conversation whatsoever, especially if it's the first date. The next thing is this. The reason why I don't do it is because I'm setting a boundary. I'm setting a boundary for what the context of our relationship is. If we start to talk about intellectual stuff and we get into these kinds of debates and arguments, and she tries to assert her prowess in these certain areas, or even question my take on it, I think it ruins frame. So I don't like intellectual stuff. I think it's too much of a friendly conversation, and I don't like having friendly conversations with women. I don't have women that are friends. I don't. We're either fucking or you're out, right? We're either fucking or we're gonna fuck. Plain and simple. We're gonna have a sexual relationship, and then from there we can build it into something else. But those are the premises by which I operate all of my relationships with females. If I want to have an intellectual conversation, I'll come and talk to you guys. I'll go into the WarTribe. We got WarTribe on WhatsApp too, right? Or I'll go and I'll talk to some of my close buddies that are in my inner circle. But as far as intellectual conversations with women, no. The other thing I've come to realize is that anytime I have had a conversation, an intellectual conversation with a woman, she'll be 70% of the way there, but then every single time she'll always interject something with some type of feeling that'll completely negate her intellect. She will, no kidding. It's so funny because you'll see this. Women, it's like if you watch Donovan Sharp's show, he always talks about this. Women always tell on themselves. They always tell on themselves. So you'll see that women will operate in the intellectual sphere in order to get by and pass as an intellect or an intellectual, but then they'll always shoot themselves in the foot somehow, some way by basing their own ideas, their own conclusions off of what ought to be and what should be rather than what is. Because women can't operate in that frame. They cannot operate in that no matter what, because it's part of their survival instincts to do so. They're never going to separate from the feminine, right? The feminine they have to be solipsistic and they have to be hypergamous. It's the necessitous role of women to be that way for the species to survive. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. It has to be that way. So that's why me saying this, guys, I'm not hating on women whatsoever. I'm not. Like, women need to be that way in order for the species to survive. That's part of the feminine. That's part of their energy. That's part of their character set. You can't be mad at their hardware. You can't, right? It's just like the reason why we are the way we are. That's why people can't be mad at men. We are hardwired to be this way for the species to survive. The thing is, though, you just got to understand these things and you got to play the game in accordance to the rules. It's the guys that are out there. This is what the blue pill is. The blue pill is let's paint an ideal of what women should be and let's pretend like they are that way and turn the blind eye to what the reality is. And like, that's why it's not going to survive. That's why feminism can't survive. It's why the blue pill can't survive. It's why everything in today's world, this SJW, neo-Marxist type of stuff, our colleges, even our financial systems, like things that aren't based on reality. When you start bending the rules of reality, inevitably things are going to come crashing down and it's going to turn into some type of chaos, which then is going to have to be smacked down by order. And that's what we're looking at today. So there's that. Let's talk about this real quick for those of you guys that haven't or didn't watch yesterday's show. I need to preface a few things. Oh, you are a bunch of shit. That's what you are. Oh yeah. So here's the deal, everybody. Here's my book. Actually, this is probably the chapter that I'm going to be sending out to you guys. Patriarch's Vision, Purging Feminism. What is the goal of this book? What am I trying to do? Now, I had a friend of mine politely email me and he's like, hey, listen, I don't understand why you're talking about purging feminism. Why are you like trying to fight and in a way like there's a connotation that you're trying to kill it? And it's like, no. That is not what I'm trying to do whatsoever. This book is written for men. It's not written for feminism. It's not written. In one chapter specifically, I talk about and I tackle feminism, right? And I destroy it, utterly destroy it, because it's super easy to philosophically destroy the notion of feminism, plain and simple. This book, what it really comes down to is it's written for men to purge feminism from their own systems, from their own ideologies, from their own belief systems, from their own reality. Because as we understand, feminism is not a part of reality. It's a pipe dream. It's an ideal. It's a should be, right? It's not something that is actually it's not like a law of nature. It's not a law of physics. It's just not the way things are supposed to be. It's not the way things are. It's a dream of people saying this is the way it should be. It's a socially engineered construct, right? So what that means is, as far as that's concerned, is purging feminism from your own self, purging feminism from masculinity, purging the idea and notion and the belief system of feminism from society. Because only the societies that flourish in this world today are masculine run. Plain and simple. Men are the foundation by which a society flourishes. When you have weak men and you have women trying to take over and take the helm and be the captain, everything gets destroyed. Just look at Disney. Just look at Star Wars, right? Look at these things. Look at our militaries right now, guys. I think 10% of the military is women and they're destroying it already, right? You can't bring women into a men's club. It's going to get destroyed. Now, for those of you guys that didn't see yesterday's show, let's take a look at what else I bring into this book, right? So here's a table of contents. What we're looking at as far as that's concerned is this. Everything builds upon one another. And this is how I got to teach people as far as this is concerned, right? The majority of the book has nothing to do with women whatsoever. It has a lot more to do with men. And this is the belief system and the belief structures by which we need to operate. We need to, one, understand the species from a biological level. How are we created? I just kind of talked a little bit about that. Women are hardwired to be solipsistic and hypergamous, plain and simple. It's okay. You just got to understand that that's their motives, right? And you got to create a society in accordance to that. Men were obviously the type of individuals where we have and we base everything off of a hierarchy, right? Well, I mean, the species in general does that. But there's alphas and there's betas and there's all this other stuff. Men are also, the alphas are trying to spread their seed amongst as many as possible. Betas are trying to lock down one woman and provide resources, right? Childcare, emotional stuff, all that other things. So you got to understand the species from a biological level. Not just that, you also got to understand, like, what are our rules? What are the things that we operate from? Rule number 1 is survive. Rule number 2 is procreate. Rule number 3 is evolve, right? Like, that's just the way we are. That's how every species on the planet is. It's ingrained into our biology, into our DNA, into our cellular structure. Number 2, failure to teach a true failure to teach a true understanding of nature. I go into hierarchy here. I go into a whole bunch of other stuff that is true to nature. Number 3, no survival skills. Number 4, not teaching self-defense. Number 5, lack of initiation into manhood and masculine mentorship. That's a huge one. Number 6, not teaching philosophy. Absolutely important. Number 7, failure to foster the positive feminine. Number 8, failure to understand spirituality. Number 9, failure to understand the sexual marketplace. That's what the book's about, guys. It's a full-blown breakdown of all the things that we've overlooked in society that are imperative for the foundation of a good society. Because ultimately, what society is supposed to do? It's supposed to foster freedom and happiness, right? It's supposed to foster growth. It's supposed to foster a level of struggle and strife for you to be able to grow. And we're seeing a society right now that's instead trying to bubble wrap everything and protect everybody from their own devices and their own demise. It's like, no, that's a necessitous part of life, right? No one is guaranteed or promised life. You have no right to life. You really don't. You have no right to life. You have certain rights as a human being, but you don't have a right to life. Life is precious. You don't have the right to not walk out of your house tomorrow, fall and trip and fucking break your neck, right? There's no right to that. You're just taking your best chances possible. Anyway, that's the book. I want you guys just to understand from the standpoint of what I'm writing from and what the book is about. It's super fun. I mean, I know that sounds a little bit serious, like I'm tackling some deep shit. I am, but I also have a lot of fun with it by, poking the bear and pointing out some pretty. I point out a lot of the issues that we have in today's society and why it's not going to work out. So that part is really, really fun. You guys will get a kick out of it. Anyway, anywho, let me take a look at these comments here. I think for day game, you have to disrupt the hamster in the right way, like making her forget everything she was doing and just focusing on being piped down. Yeah, I'm going to get into that in a little bit as we talk a little bit more about seduction, how to be able to try to do something like that. But it's not easy. J Man says he's smashing the like for Corey. I do appreciate that. Please do ensure that when you stop in here, you're at least hitting that like button if you can't listen for the entirety of the show. Hmm. Money used on SARMs is better used for buying more meat. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Why not do both? Oop. The genetic side of fat is just the number of fat cells you have, not how much more fat they store. The part is all on you and your diet. It's true. You can change all that stuff. Some people are born being a little bit more genetically. If your parents fuck it up, right? If your parents are eating bad shit, you're at a higher disadvantage coming out of the womb for sure. And then you're surrounded by the way that they eat as far as behavior is concerned. So it's not good. Have you guys seen that video of that fat bitch throwing up when she smelled broccoli? She lives only off of cheesy potatoes. That's disgusting. Ugh. Modern women are messing with nature. As a matter of fact, they are. It's so funny because they're so about nature. That's all they ever talk about. And they're all these keen environmentalists and all this other stuff. But yet they can't take care of their own personal environment in their own homes. They can't clean up their own houses. They can't cook. They can't do anything. They love to have these pet projects that they get to stand on a fucking moral high ground about, but they can't even take care of their own shit. It's insanely hypocritical. It's so easy to just point and sputter about some kind of like social justice trope, some social justice new agey type of fucking mindset than it is for you to take your own personal accountability and responsibility for your own life. It's like the fact is they hate life. They really do. They hate life, and that's why they're trying to destroy it. My man, did it burn out on the like button? That's what I'm talking about. We got to start getting on the share, what's it called? The ride share, or something like that. Ride sharing, ride. I don't know, whatever. Let's go for that. We got to start sharing this stuff a little bit more, guys. It's hard content to share, though. I'm not going to lie. So I understand. It's like, fuck. It's like being a fucking Alex Jones toting fucking tinfoil hat wearing mofo that touts conspiracy theories all the time. It's like, oh my God, look at this. Look at this guy posting this shit on his Facebook. It's like, everybody watch this shit. Not easy. I get that. But do it anyway. This book will make those feminist bitches cry. Those poor cows. Hey, you know what? When you're the shepherd, it doesn't matter, does it? Or if you're the fucking butcher, it doesn't matter, does it? It's like sometimes you got to thin the herd, baby. Sometimes you got to eat. Daddy's got to eat. That's where I'm at right now. I told my first plate boundaries today, and she left. Oh, damn. She was fine. Well, you fucked up. You don't tell them your fucking boundaries. Did you not watch Rule Zeros today? Because I know you're in the chat. I know you called in. You don't tell someone your boundaries. You never tell anyone your boundaries. You just let them cross your boundaries. And when they cross your boundaries, you, what's it called? You come in with fucking lethal force on your boundaries, right? You demonstrate, you act. And like, here's the thing, guys. Like, and I know you personally, so I'm not going to try to berate you, but here's the thing: is like, a lot of you guys are so scared to actually demonstrate any type of like masculinity around women. It's like if a girl does something I don't like, I'm like, hey, cut that shit out right now, right? Or stop doing that. Be respectful. I'm not going to tolerate that behavior. Like, that's what you say. You don't like, you're asking, when you tell a girl your boundaries, like, hey, let's sit down and have a conversation. These are the things I like, and these are the things that I don't like. All right. So you're not going to do those. It's like you're asking her permission. You're asking her permission to have boundaries. And that's your problem there, is you're still operating from a feminine frame. You're still operating from her as the prize and you as the fucking subject. Right. Like, you don't ask permission. You just do. Like, you don't have a conversation and say, these are my boundaries. You don't say, hey, these are my rules, right? You just wait for her to cross them, and then boom, right? Fix that shit on the spot. So one of the biggest issues in our fucking society today is people have lost the ability to police their own, right? I was at the gym last week, and there's this fat Mexican kid, probably about 19 years old, drinking a bang, and you could tell obviously he was in there post New Year's, hasn't really lifted that much, but he was sitting there and he was like rapping. He was like rapping and screaming while he was lifting, like listening to his music and like yelling the lyrics out while he was doing it. And then he was lifting and he was like slamming the weights after every single rep. And then he got up and he like he just let go of the machine and let the weight slam. It was like disturbing everybody. I was like, what the fuck is up with this kid? I was like, this kid wants attention. You know what I mean? It's like, fuck. All right, here we go. So I'm 2 machines over. And I finished my set. I'm like, all right, let's go do this. And he gets up and he finishes his set and he finished his bang, which had spilled a little bit on the floor. And he gets up and he leaves all the weight on the machine and he starts walking away and he sees his bang can on the floor and he just like punts it. Instead of like reaching down and just picking it up, he like punts it across the gym and then starts to walk away. And that like infuriated me. But I had already known at that point in time, like I already had to pull him aside and have a conversation with him. Because nobody else is going to. Everyone else is just going to sit there and they're going to let it happen and they're going to just bitch in their own minds about this guy who's acting fucking crazy. So I see him kick it and I get up off my machine and I just go, hey. And he like turns and looks a little bit and I go, pick that up. And he looks back at me and goes, pfft. And I get up and I walk towards him. I go pick that up right now. And he like walks over to it and he picks it up. And then he starts walking towards the trash can, but in his mind, because he got punked out, now he's got to start talking shit. He's like, man, fuck you. You ain't my dad. I was like, bro, you need a father. I was like, you need a dad. And he's like, fuck you. Just because you're big, you think you could bow up on people and shit? I was like, whatever you want to think, bro. And I have a rule too when it comes to that stuff. Like, I don't let people get into like a 1 arm's distance of me. So he's within that range, or he's outside of that range rather, and he's like walking away as he's talking and stuff. And he keeps talking shit. He's like, fuck you, dude, just because you're big. Fuck you. You think you could fight and stuff like that? I was like, come here and test me. I was like, come here. Come on. Like, you're walking away, but you're saying all this stuff. I was like, come here. Like, come here and walk towards me and say that stuff. He's like, man, fuck you. And he leaves. And then right after I did that, a whole bunch of people walked right up to me and they're like, oh my God, you know, that's really cool that you did that. I was going to say something, but. And that's everybody's excuse. I was going to say something, but you know how many people I've had that have come up to me when I was in the military, when I was a Marine, they're like, man, I was going to join the Marines, but it's like, bitch, fuck you. Shut the fuck up. Did you or did you not? That's all that fucking matters in this world. Did you or did you not? I was gonna. Go to your fucking grave with I was gonna. Tell me how many fucking I was gonnas you're gonna do, right? Like, that's such fucking bullshit. You little fucking pansy ass motherfuckers. I don't care who you are. I was gonna. You know what I was gonna do? I was gonna fucking write the next greatest fucking song and be on the fucking Billboard 100s or whatever the fuck it's called and make millions of dollars off of my new album. And I'm not even a musician, guys. That's what I was gonna do. I was gonna do that, but you know, fuck it. You know what I mean? Like, I was gonna, what the fuck is that bullshit? It's a fucking cop-out. It's that someday all type of bullshit. You either do or you don't. You either fucking shit or you get off the pot, man. One of the biggest adages I have is this. I always say this. I envision myself whenever I'm choosing to bail out on something and not follow through or whatever, because that happens in life, right? Like, sometimes you do have to quit some things. I call it, you know, when I do it, because I don't quit on things often, but when I do, I call it a readjustment or just an adjustment, right? It's a maneuver. I'm maneuvering for a different thing. So it's like, I don't know if you guys know this. Before this, I used to have another podcast. It was called The War Within. And I talked a lot about PTSD and healing PTSD and all this other stuff. And I had a podcast that was more focused towards veterans and trying to help them heal. And I stopped doing it because I didn't have an audience, and the audience that I did have was just victims, right? And I was like, man, this is fucking really degrading work. Like, I hate it. Like, ugh. But it doesn't mean I stopped podcasting. It means I just changed. I changed my voice in a way. I changed my strategy. I was like, oh, I got into this more. I started reading. I mean, that summer I read fucking 42 books alone, something along those lines. Over like 2 or 3 months, I read 42 books just in this space on seduction, on game. I already had most of the skills, but I just read more and more and more about that. And it's like, this is the direction I want to be. I read more on masculinity, right? I read all of fucking Jack Donovan stuff. I read Iron John again. I reread all sorts of different stuff on mythology. I read 48 Laws of Power and all that crap, right? Like, just hammered all this stuff. And that's what led me to be here. Why am I telling you guys this? Because what I'm saying is, when it comes down to my life, whenever I'm either getting ready to like chicken out or make a decision, I sit there and I ask myself, when you're on your deathbed, do you want to look back at your life and say, I did or I was gonna? I did or I didn't? Am I going to go to my deathbed right now with regret? Because the worst thing that you could ever do is go to your deathbed with regret. Plain and simple. I don't think there would be any worse feeling in the world than being on your deathbed, knowing that your life is slipping out of your hands and you didn't fucking do all the things that you wanted to do, or you never fucking took action, right? I do this. I was talking to someone offline and they're like, hey man, what's one of the things that you do in order to get in a state before you go and talk to a girl? And that's one of the things that I say. I say to myself, do I want to go to my deathbed having regret not going and talking to that girl? Who knows what kind of, I'm not trying to say have one-itis about it, but what I'm saying is, who knows what that connection could have led to? Who knows what that could have done for my life? Who knows what type of thing, what type of path it could have led me down, right? This is like, when it comes down to this stuff, when it comes to game and it comes to seduction, like, you got to put yourself in that mindset. And there's not a lot of people out there that are willing to do that shit. They're literally not willing to look at it as a fucking life and death. Because really what it comes down to is, if you're not growing in life, you're fucking dying. If you're not pushing your boundaries, if you're not trying to make yourself a better person every single fucking day, you're fucking dying, people. Like, what are you doing with your life? I was gonna. These fucking people. I was gonna. You know what I do to people when they say shit like that? I scoff at them. And I know that sounds fucking arrogant as hell. But in my mind, I just laugh. I chuckle. I'm just like, you know, and I kind of play it off too further, like, yeah, I feel you. But in my mind, I'm just like, fuck you, bitch made. Like, why didn't you? And then we look around and we have the audacity to sit here and point fingers at our society and how broken and fucked up it is. But how many fucking people have the balls to go up and correct another person that they don't know and tell them that they're fucked up? You want to know the biggest reason why I fucking went and did that? Because here's the thing, is if everyone fucking cleaned up their own goddamn messes in this world, there wouldn't be any fucking messes for society to have to clean up. That's one of my biggest pet peeves. I told you guys this. What was one of the traits that I talked about in people not to trust? It was stupid. It was a stupid one, but it's like, yo, when people don't put their own fucking garbage, or sorry, not their garbage, their fucking shopping cart away. Those types of people believe what? When someone just lazily throws their fucking grocery cart wherever, and they don't walk it the 30 seconds it takes to go walk it to the fucking little environment where you put the, what's it called, right? It's called a corral. I don't know what the fuck they're called. It's called a corral, though. Those types of people are lazy fucks that have a belief system that someone else is out there to clean up their shit. They also have the mindset that putting in a little extra effort to organize their life, to take charge of their life, is too great of a cost. They'd much rather take the easy way out. And it's like, fuck that. Fuck those people. Those types of people are the types of people that need to be called out. Someone needs to go up to them and be like, hey, don't have to be a dick about it. This is one of the things that I hated most about the Marine Corps is that we used to call it when someone would get lifed out. It was one of the most beautiful things, but also some of the worst parts about it. Because there's better ways to mentor people. You don't always have to be an authoritarian, but you can be a mentor, right? When you correct someone. In that moment, I had to be an authoritarian. But I'll tell you another thing that I did. I walked up to that kid yesterday. It's been about 2 weeks since that happened. And I noticed that he's been there every single time that I've been there. And I go to the gym at least 6 days a week. And he's been there every single fucking time. And he's this pretty chubby Mexican kid who I could tell has some issues, right? He probably did come from a broken home. You know, he's probably struggling with attention. He's probably struggling with all sorts of stuff, emotional issues and whatnot. So I walked up to him yesterday and I said, hey, man. And he looks at me and he kind of like scowls a little bit because obviously he recognized that I was the one who yelled at him. I said, hey, man, I just want to put things aside. I needed to come up to you and let you know, like, I've noticed the hard work that you've been putting in and come in here. And I notice how dedicated you are. And that's something that needs to be rewarded. Keep it up, dude. You're doing a good job. And then we sat there and we had a conversation for a little while. And he started telling me about him going to school now and all sorts of other stuff and what his dreams are. And then he just started volunteering this stuff to me, guys. Right? And it's just like with a girl, when you go and approach a girl, sometimes, yeah, you'll get rejected. But at the same time, she's going to respect you. She's going to respect you for being masculine. She's going to respect you for being a courageous man. That guy respects me because I established that boundary. And I was willing to sacrifice my own social status in that environment. Shit, I was even willing to get into a fight over it, right? And sacrifice my body, right? In a way. You don't know. No one knows what's going to happen in a fight. That's why fights are so damn scary. No one knows the outcome. You could get hurt severely. Someone could throw a lucky punch and you could get knocked the fuck out. You could get killed. You could break a bone, right? In our mind, these are all things that are all part of our survival. It's scary to do these things. That's why people shirk away from doing them. But you got to do them, you know? If we really want to live in a society and a civilization where people are happy and we're not seeing things run amok, man, you motherfuckers got to step up and start establishing some boundaries. But like I said, there's a healthy way to do these things, right? Doesn't always have to be from the authoritarian perspective. You can be the type of person where you walk up and you're like, hey, let's chat about your behavior right now. Let's chat about this stuff. That's the way I do it for men. For women, it's always, you got to demonstrate, right? You can't, for men, you can have the conversation and you can have a logical explanation and you can mentor. But for women, it's got to be action, because too many men are so eager to try to have the conversation with women and get them to agree with them. And it's like, that's not how women behave. That's not how things are. So it's kind of crazy. I talked about this earlier on Rule Zero, or was it Dude Party? We're just operating backwards. We're pedestalizing women and we're treating them like children and we're treating them like friends kind of deal, right? And we're like trying to keep them as the more valuable relationship. But the reality is, like, we got to be that way with men and we got to treat women the opposite. You know, it seems ass backwards. It seems counterintuitive, but we're living in an ass backwards society. So these are the perspectives I take when it comes to writing these books, right? Everything that I write now, it's like, well, if things are backwards, we need to figure out a way to reverse this shit. How do we reverse it? And how do we do it in a way that's more productive than what we did in the past? So that's what I do when it comes to this writing. Anyway, holy fuck. I haven't looked at any of the comments since I've gone on that little diatribe. So let me take a look through the shit. Where the fuck did I leave off? Corey, do you engage in pillow talk? Is there a female comedian you find funny? No. I think women can be cute funny. Like I Love Lucy. She wasn't standing up there telling fucking jokes. She was being funny in a feminine way. It was like cutesy and like kind of clumsy and all that other stuff, right? She did that in a good way. Who else does that? You know who else did that? Was Sandra Bullock. That's why Sandra Bullock became popular. She did things like Miss Congeniality and all this other stuff. She was funny in a feminine way, but it wasn't like she was trying to be funny like a man is, because believe it or not, humor is something that was invented by men as a means for them to climb us. Everything that we do is a sexual strategy, right? So like art, dance, poetry, writing, music, comedy, athletics, all this stuff is a means for men to be able to show their social value. And it's a sexual strategy. So we men, we've created all these things in order for us to differentiate ourselves from other men, right? It's a way for you to differentiate yourself from the genetic alpha in order for you to gain and garner resources and social status. That way there, you have a shot to promote your genetics. Women have never had to evolve to be funny. They don't need to. The only thing women need to do is be feminine, fit, flirtatious, right? Be open to sex and all that other stuff, and just pick wisely the highest value man and do it in their youth. That's all women have ever had to evolve to do. So women aren't funny. They're not funny. Sure, there's some women out there that are kind of funny, but they're just right? Do I engage in pillow talk, or is that too much relationship vibes? I mean, it kind of depends on with the girl. I don't know if I really know what pillow talk is, to be honest with you. Is it like, because I've heard pillow talk is like dirty talk. I guess that's kind of what I'm talking about. Or is pillow talk like when you've finished having sex and you guys are just laying there and you're talking about stuff? I guess clarify that one for me, because I talk to girls after I have sex with them, and I'll give them a little bit of information about me. But here's the thing that you always have to be cognizant of as well. First off, the first thing you guys got to be cognizant of is that we have 37 people up in the chat right now. So let's make sure we're hitting that motherfucking like button, especially if I'm dropping that fire emojis in the chat. If you guys are liking the truth bombs that I'm dropping today, fire emojis pour favor. When you bust a nut, you produce a lot of oxytocin. It's supposed to be a binding mechanism in order to keep you kind of glued to that woman so that you'll raise your progeny. So you got to be very careful after you bust a nut because of this binding mechanism. It's going to make you open up and start talking about things that you probably shouldn't. So you got to be very selective of the things that you want to talk about. So I have things that I'm willing and open to talk about. But one of the first things that we talk about after sex is this, like, because my fragrance collection is hanging out right there, I'll steer the conversation. I'll be like, hey, just out of curiosity, like pick the top 5, or go through and smell some of these and tell me which ones you like the most, and like what vibe you're getting off of them and stuff like that. It's funny because one of the things that I'm actually going to try to start doing too, because I talk to these girls after we have sex, right? And one of the things that I actually want to start doing is I want to sit them down and I actually want to do an interview with them. And that's actually going to be one of the things that I post up on my Patreon. And I'm going to call it post smash interviews. Dan S hopping on and saying words of fucking wisdom right there. Hell yeah, dude. Much appreciated. Yeah, that's so true. They don't understand it because they're just chaotic energy. They're not meant to. That's our job as men. We're the ones that codify and understand things from that level. Women don't need that. It's not part of their sexual strategy. It's not part of their evolutionary strategy either, right? Women are just supposed to exist. It's a beautiful thing. That's why I mimic all that in my relationships. It's funny because, after I release this book, guys, it's going to catch fire. It's going to catch fire. People are going to get fucking outraged, I'm sure. Maybe I'll get on fucking Good Morning Britain like fucking ADJ did and a whole bunch of other stuff. And people are going to accuse me of being misogynistic and all that other things. In today's parlance, in today's time, sure. Am I misogynistic? Absolutely. Sure. Let's agree there. That's fine. And then women are going to just accuse me of wanting to have cute women that I don't want to have an intellectual conversation with, and I just want them to be dumb. Well, no, I don't want women to be dumb. I don't want them to be dumb. I think dumb women are unattractive. But it also doesn't mean that I want them leading with their intellect either. And the other thing is this: who's smarter? The woman that remains a virgin, realizes her value at 18, 19 years old, dresses up in a manner to attract higher value men, and then picks and chooses the right one by which who has the most amount of resources and the best genetics, and then proposes to her or whatever, and then marries her. Or the modern day feminist that goes to school at 18 after losing her virginity at 14, already having all her whole stuff through her, has been drinking, has been doing drugs, goes to college for fucking 8 years, has $250,000 worth of debt, has run through approximately 200 to 300 men, goes into corporate America and starts chasing the corporate dream, sleeping with all the people in her own stuff, has 2 or 3 Me Too fucking accusations under her belt, and at 33 years old realizes, oh shoot, I should probably settle down, finds the simpest man possible, isn't really attracted to him, has his fucking degenerate children, and then 2 to 3 years later ends up divorcing him, stealing half his shit, and then fucking crying victim again and further. Meanwhile, she goes around smashing chads, but she can't get the chads that she got before. So now she's lonely for life. Which woman would you say is smarter? Because that's all I'm coming from. I think girl A is the smart one. Why? She maximized her sexual value and she gained more. And she gets to retain more of her value as well. Her life is going to be set. She's going to do what she can in order to keep that man around and have his children, get motherhood out of the way. And then once she's done and once her kids are a bit older, she's going to have that guy invest resources into her. She might start her own little fucking business. She might start her own little boutique. She might even start doing like little things for Etsy at home that's invested in from her husband, right? But because she's a good partner and she's on team family and she's on team him, he's going to be more willing to invest into her as well. She's going to hold on to her figure longer, right? She's going to invest in the staying in shape and trying to keep her man, right? It's that to me is far smarter than the modern day woman. Plain and simple. Telling your boundaries is like telling your enemy where the landmines are. That's exactly it, man. You don't fucking give your battle plan to the fucking enemy, man. Straight up. I can't believe that actually happened for him to kick the can like that. What? I would have thought he was like mentally off or something crazy. Yeah, he was definitely mentally off, but I don't care. I don't care. Like I'm going to hold a boundary. Someone's got to. I still have people to this day coming up to me and like shaking. Well, I've had a couple of people shake my hand, but they're like, dude, I saw you do that. That was fucking so cool. That was crazy. It's like, guys, like it's, if only 10% of people in this gym started doing more of that, right? You don't got to be a dick about it. Hey man, come on, re-rack your weights. What are we doing here? I got so much weight. I have so many weights to lift. Come on. You need me to lift more? Clean your mess up. Let's go. Right? It's that simple. Yeah, people only talk shit to me when they're 15 plus feet away too. Yeah, it's hilarious. Corey hit it with the recruiter speech. That's what convinced me to enlist, but I don't regret it. Changed my life. Absolutely. I mean, did the military suck at times? Absolutely. But I would not fucking, I wouldn't change anything in my fucking life at all. Corey is changing my life, man. Great book. Yeah, that's he's talking about Live Your Best Life in 30 Days. There's a link in the description as well. If you guys want to get a free copy of Live Your Best Life, please do click that link. Live Your Best Life in 30 Days is my first book. It highlights how to obviously make yourself the center of your own universe, changing your mindset from the blue pill conditioning that teaches you to be a subject of other people and instead making yourself the fucking king of your own fucking life. Go ahead, click that link too. I was gonna comment, but I love it, dude. Good to see you on here too, man. Seriously. If you can, click the link below and subscribe to my channel. You get more information. All that good stuff. Look up Pillow Talk. Oh, yeah, I love that shit. Little Dickie's pretty hilarious, too. You should talk about Girl A more often. That's all I want to see. I definitely like to see, what's it called? I definitely like to see more girls that way. I think that 80% of women will, man, my biggest thing is this, like I talk about it. You know, one of the biggest things I try to promote is happiness. And I see that most women in today's world are not happy. So it's like, yo, what do they got to change? Well, we got to change this. But in my new book, Patriarch's Vision, Purging Feminism, I talk about a new model of marriage where it's all based off of the sexual marketplace and how to connect two people, male and female, obviously, when they're both at their peak sexual market value, and how to design a relationship based off of that. Because here's the thing, is I don't believe that human beings are necessarily monogamous, nor do I believe that people should have sex with one person for the rest of their life. That's kind of boring. For some people, that floats their boat. And if they choose to do that, that's awesome. They can have agreed upon contract for that too. But I talk about how we could still have a good society, because here's the thing. In order to raise the next generation in a healthy manner, if you choose to have children, which it is a choice to have children, it has to be between male and female. And the parents have to choose to be together for the duration of raising them up into adulthood. Okay. Now, I redefine a bit of adulthood in there as well. So you're going to have to read the book in order to understand where I'm coming from with all this stuff. And I make it as a way for it to be pretty fucking kosher. But I think both people can walk away happy that they did that, and also walk away having kids that are going to be healthy. Because kids need to have their parents together. They need to see the dance between the masculine and the feminine. And they need to have and be a part of a household where dad is the leader and that the woman supplicates and falls into his frame. But the thing is, you can't just do it based off of religion. We've learned this lesson now. We've learned that the good book can be defeated, right? So how do we do it now? Well, the thing is, we need to have a society where men are initiated into manhood. We need to kill off the boy, which is going to prevent them from being blue pill. Then men need to go through training. They need to go to an all-boys school at a certain point and at a certain age. And they need to learn about this type of stuff. They need to have that ingrained into them from a very early age so that they can start to understand and see through the veil of what society will teach them, right? This society, and what truly is. And then from there, I get into a whole bunch of different stuff. It's fucking awesome. I've come up with a pretty amazing cocktail as to how things are supposed to be. Notice how I shifted my verbiage instead of how it should be, because we're no longer playing with how things should be. We're going back to how things are, the way they're supposed to be, right? The way that reality and nature have codified us as a species to exist. It's pretty epic. Anyway. That can lead into a little bit of the conversation that I want to have today. I can't believe I've gone this far. This has been good stuff. This has been like a nice little wrap where I've talked about some really, really amazing shit today that I didn't intend on speaking on, but fuck it. Who cares? Love that stuff. Let's talk about seduction real quick, because here's the thing that it really comes down to is seduction is something that is necessitous for a man to possess. A lot of us have been raised to believe that females are the ones that are in charge of seduction. However, that is not true. And what do I mean by seduction, guys? What is seduction? Now, of course, as always, someone can come up in the chat and be like, oh my God, seduction is such a narcissistic and sociopathic way for men to get pussy. And it's like, no, 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 no. There's nothing. Sure, of course, can men and women, can they be devious about this type of stuff? 100%. And am I saying for you to do that? Absolutely not. Everything that I do is 100% transparent, right? I wear it, I exude it, right? Everyone, every one of the girls that I mess around with, they know the direction that I'm leading things. It's just, it's done in a more fun, I'd almost even say dramatic, uh, I hate to use the term mystical, but magical way. Like that's a good term to use, is magical. Women want you to be the magician. They don't want to know how the fucking illusion is done. They just want to go on the ride, have it done perfectly, and see the end result and be wowed, right? That's what seduction is, guys. That's seduction. And that's how you have to orchestrate your sexual relationships with women. You got to figure out how to add that wow factor mixed with mystery, mixed with a little bit of that flavor of magic and mysticism of like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing this, right? Every girl acts that way, right? They're always going to pretend as though they're not in control and they're letting go. Like that's what they want to feel. That's part of the beauty of seduction. That's why it's such a beautiful art form, honestly. And the thing is this, it's the only way to have sex. It's the only way to have sex, guys. Seduction and game are along the same exact lines. Okay? Seduction is the tool by which game is run, is all I have to say, right? If you're not a master of seduction, you need to work on this and you need to get involved in doing this, because even if you're looking for a long-term relationship with one woman, you still have to seduce her. The men of old, right? This old school mindset of like, oh, we just get married and now my woman owes me sex. And then they wonder why they're in a sexless relationship 10, 15, 20 years later, and they haven't had sex for 4, 5, 6, 40 years. It's like, you forgot to turn up the heat, my man. You forgot how to do this. You forgot that you're the one that is leading this relationship. A woman is never, and this is what, Rollo talks about this stuff. You can never negotiate desire. You can the second you start negotiating it is the second it turns into transactional sex, and that's the second she stops respecting you as her leader. If you have to negotiate it, it means you're losing frame. Think about this. Seduction should never stop, and there's a lot of things you need to do in order to seduce. And believe it or not, in my perspective, it's a hard thing to do in a long-term relationship. Seduction is really, really hard as well if you're living with that person day in and day out. Why is that? Well, because familiarity breeds contempt. That's why distance is absolutely one of your greatest tools for seduction. Distance creates mystery. Distance creates questions, right? Distance creates the type of emotion where she's going to be wondering what you're doing. So that's one of the things that you guys got to take into consideration when it comes to seducing a woman. How open and available are you with your schedule? How open and forthright are you with giving her all the details of your day? See, a lot of guys shoot themselves in the foot by thinking, oh, what I need to do is I need to make her feel as secure as possible. And in reality, the more secure you make a woman feel, the less attracted and aroused she's going to be by you. So that's the thing, guys, is you need to start taking into consideration all the steps that you're doing right now in your relationships with women. And if it's not gaining and garnering you any type of sex, if it's not creating any type of push-pull, if it's not creating any type of polarity, if things in your life and your relationships are just baseline, I can assure you that her foot is out the door somehow, some way. I can assure you some way, somehow, she's looking for it somewhere else via Kevin and Sales, right? Who knows? But Chad, or in the parlance of my Marine brethren, Jody, is always knocking on that door, baby. There's always some dude out there, especially in today's world, guys, in this open sexual marketplace. There's always another man out there that is willing to step in and fill the void, if you guys know what I'm saying. That void between your legs. Of course, she's going to sit there and say something about it being emotional. That's bullshit. What she's looking for instead is she's looking for some kind of rush. She's looking for some kind of deviation from the baseline that you're providing her with. Baseline is the opposite. It's the antithesis of seduction. And I'm telling you guys, seduction is not an easy thing to do. You got to break through some of your comfort zones. There's a lot of you guys out there that aren't fun. You're boring, right? You got the, oh, I'm a fucking engineer and I calculate everything. Oh, that's not, I need to say everything that's perfect around her. Ugh. No, fuck no. Have fun with your conversations. Talked about it a little bit yesterday too, when it comes to pickup. Slow down the tone of your voice. Become a little bit more sultry, right? Become a little bit more bass-like. Smile more. Smirk more. Don't take your sunglasses off. I don't know. Do different stuff to remain mysterious and edgy, that she can't get a read on you. You guys try too hard to make her feel comfortable too fast. It's like, that shit's boring. That's what friends do, right? It's like, no wonder why she doesn't want to sleep with you. It's a man's job to create the space for the sexual energy to flow. And that's another thing that's gone wrong in our society today, is that men have decided instead to lead with their wallet and just be a provider, and thinking that sex is transactional. Oh, well, I put a roof over your head and I pay the bill, so therefore it is your duty to have sex with me. Well, that shit's all based in the physical. Women don't operate in the physical. Women operate in the emotional. You need to fuck a woman's mind before you fuck her pussy. That's what seduction is. Seduction is the beautiful dance where you entertain and make her start to go through her wildest fantasies, where you get the chemical cocktail inside of her brewing and getting her ready. Shit, I'm telling you guys, most of the time I barely even have to do foreplay. That thing is already fucking ripe for the picking, because I fucked her brain before I even touched her physically. And they love it. They love it, guys. I'm telling you. And it's not just that. It's beautiful on both ends. It's so much fun when you know this game, when you know this tango. They love it and they respect and they appreciate it. And you feel like the fucking king of the world. And not just that, you both get to have the physical dance afterwards of having fucking amazing sex where she's in your frame, where you get to do some things to her that you never thought were possible. And then she's willing as well to provide pleasure to you because she trusts you. And why does she trust you? Well, she trusts you because you've already shown her. You showed her that you can lead her. You've showed her that you could take her from one state into a peak state. That you know what you're doing, that you're confident, right? That you're a leader. And there's nothing more that can attract a woman, right? There's nothing more that attracts a woman than that, especially when you make it feel to her as though you know and understand women. You know and understand her. It's like literally, it's like taking a fucking red hot knife and just slicing through butter. Honestly, that's exactly what it feels like. It's just so smooth, so easy. And she just melts and she loves it. So for those people out there that are going to fucking listen to me later on or come to this and try to use it against me, the beauty of all the things that I'm doing and saying and teaching men is this. It's a way for everyone to get and attain some level of pleasure and happiness. It's a means for men to feel masterful and confident in their own skin. It's a way for women to be led and let go of the pretense of having to be in control. It's a fun journey. That's what seduction is. Anyway, with that said, guys, I'm going to wrap it up right here, right now. It's been my pleasure to be able to hop on here and share some of my stories, share some of my feelings about things, and share some of my beliefs We have 40 people up in the chat right now. Please do ensure that you're hitting the like button as well. If you guys haven't already, please do click the link below. I'm posting in the chat right now for you to be able to get a free chapter of my new book that is going to change and shape the way that men view their role in the world today. It is literally going to help be the resurgence of masculinity, and it's going to help us shape society in the way that it's supposed to be. So please do buy into this. This is our duty at this point in time in life for us to reshape our world and to get things back to the way that they should be, rather than actually the way that things are supposed to be, rather than the way that things should be. Anyway, with that said, guys, I will be on live tomorrow with John Fitch at 1:30, and then I will come live to you guys again at 4:30 solo. Right after that, I will have my meeting with my WarTribe members from 5 to 7 p.m. If you guys aren't a member of WarTribe, www.thewartribe.com. That gives you access to the webinars that I do every single Sunday, gives you access to our forum and our own private chat as well, where you are able to get coached personally by myself and be surrounded by a group of men that are striving to become the best versions of themselves. It is, hands down, the brotherhood that you want to belong to. So please do consider joining the WarTribe at www.thewartribe.com. Anyway, until tomorrow, adios.